Hello everyone, this is John. I'm a digital nomad and right now I'm in Tucson taking care of my mom's things, getting ready for a winter in Colorado in January. But this is my van, a Vanna White, and this has been my home for 2.5 years. As a digital nomad, I teach part-time and do other types of online and freelance work in web design and graphic design. I've been down here in Tucson for the last, 6 months, taking care of my mom with some health concerns. But I've also been getting ready the van for the winter time. I'm kind of doing the reverse snowbird thing where I have been down here in the summer and up north in the winter, which is kind of not how you're supposed to do it, I hear. Most people come down here in the winter time when it's cold and back up north in the summer. But because I teach up north and on the ground, and this semester in the spring, I have to teach on ground and to keep my accreditations and things. So I'll be back up home in Loveland, Colorado in January. But I've been working on my van, getting it ready, getting some things fixed I need to fix, installing things like a new roof rack and some other things in here that will help me um, organize things a little bit better in for the months ahead that I need to deal with living van life in Colorado. This is my trusty van. It is a 98 GMC Savannah 3500, the 1 ton. This has been my home for the last 2.5 years, and I will do a video soon showing the inside, but right now it is being reorganized. I've put up some new cabinet shelves and this new roof rack up here where I'm going to be use it as my attic. I had a hard top last year up there, but during the wind it got really strong and I was driving and it ripped the top of it right off. And she's been very good to me. So we'll keep her going as long as possible. Again, not too many problems. I've had issues in the past, I think, with a fuel pump and little things that go wrong, and had to replace the wheel bearings on the front right cover of the wheel, the driver's side front, anyway, and some brake pads and all the usual things. But engine's been really strong, transmission's been good. I've taken this van across country. As I said, this foolishness here is my stuff I've pulled out of the van for now just to get things reorganized. And I'm working on that part of the project. Have to make things nice and neat for the next few months in the van. So what's my story? Why did I decide to live in this spacious place here in this van in Vanna White, my little GMC Savannah? Um, so the story is that a couple of years ago, my parents, both my mom and my dad has since passed away, but my mom and dad needed a lot of medical care and help. And so what I did was I was teaching part-time and had flexibility in my job, and so I came down to Arizona for a summer to help them out, and got well established, was able to pay some stuff off down here, living with them for a while, being their caregivers. And so when I got back to Colorado, I had a little Tacoma truck, and I got back up to Colorado, and all of a sudden things had changed. The rents had skyrocketed in the area, as many of you are probably experiencing now, but this was a couple of years ago even in northern Colorado. And I did not want to dedicate another lease and do a whole another thing and take all the money that I'd had and just spend it on renting. And so what I did was, at the time, I thought, well, maybe a little travel trailer or something. So I picked up a small, kind of a 19-foot travel trailer and had that for a little while. It was an older one, and lived in that for a winter near my daughter's house. And over through a pretty cold winter and snowy winter, it developed some leakage and some molding. And I had learned more about how to deal with van life or heard about it, and so I made a different decision because the trailer was, leaking. It was older, but it was also hard to find parking for. RV, parks would not take an older trailer in them and allow you to stay in them, and they need to be like 10 years old or younger than that. And the rents for those parking RV parks was as much as an apartment, $900 to $1,000 a month. So I decided then that maybe the best answer is I learned more about things and watched more van life channels. What I did was I sold my truck, and it was in really good condition. It was able to take the proceeds from that and buy this van. This van was just a stripped out cargo van at the time. And so I then spent a couple months working on the interior of it and building it out, doing a full build out with all the various things I would need. And then over the last couple of years, I've added to it. So it has lots of power. It has solar. It is got my appliances, little microwave, refrigerator, freezer. It has a couple power packs, different ways of powering it, lighting, ventilation, insulation, very important in Colorado to have good insulation, and air conditioning and all that stuff. And I built that into the van using tutorials that I found on YouTube because I didn't have any experience with this at all. So I learned how by watching YouTube and learned the carpentry skills I needed, the electrical, plumbing, whatever it is I needed here. So I had everything in this little space that I needed to be comfortable and found it quite cozy. So it's just me and my little dog. You'll meet Cappy in various videos going forward here. But Captain Hook is a little rescue dog with a lame paw, and so it's got a little hook, and he can't straighten it. But it doesn't slow him down at all, and his name was Captain Hook, so we named him Cappy. It was by Cappy, and so you'll see him in various videos as well. He's quite the cute little Chihuahua pug mix. But here, anyway, so that started my van life journey a couple of years ago, and I found I really enjoyed it, staying around in the northern Colorado area, which is my home base, and then doing some traveling. And that gives me the flexibility to be able to go see my parents down here in Arizona, help them out. I had a past job years and years ago as a nurse's assistant working with elders, and so I knew quite a bit about that. I had also been a chaplain and ordained minister in my past, and was a hospital and hospice chaplain for 11 years, in addition to having my other career, my main career, which is to be a graphic artist and do art and teach graphic design courses. And so and that's what I do now is I teach graphic design at the community college up in Fort Collins. So between that and doing some freelance work, and maybe this channel will eventually build up and I'll be able to retrieve a little income from that too, I am trying to make my life as flexible as possible and able to cope with what many of you are coping with, which is kind of an economic collapse, with rent prices being way too unaffordable for
many working people, and including people like myself who I teach. I'm a professional, but still can't quite make enough to be able to make the ends meet in the middle. And so, but this van life has been really helpful to me. It's given me a way of coping with some of those issues, as well as allowing me to do some important things like pay off debt, deal with student loans, stuff like that. So it is a cope. It's kind of my little life hack. Now, this has gotten to be far more popular these days as people are forced into this lifestyle that I chose. And I have a number of students in my courses, in fact, that sometimes tell me, hey, I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to be living in my car. What tips do you give me? Because they know that I live this lifestyle and I'm able to kind of share from what I know. And hopefully in this channel, I'll share with you a little bit about what I know and how I've dealt with it and the things that I use to kind of cope with the activities of daily living, the basic things, dealing with also your safety and some other things in this lifestyle because, like it or not, more and more people, especially more older people, I'm 57 years old, if you couldn't tell, but more and more older adults are being forced into this as well. And so this is the state of things. And you can either complain about it, you can get depressed about it, or you can do something about it. So my decision was to do something about it, and that is why I'm here in my van. So, the old joke, in a van down by the river. I wish they would allow you to park by the river. It would be really nice. There's a nice river where I live in Colorado, but they don't allow that. They chase you out of there. But I'll be sharing my journey with you, sharing my days, my vlogs as I get them. Uh, in about a month, I'm about to head from here, from Tucson, and go back to Colorado because I have to teach in the spring semester up there and in classroom, not just online. And so it it means that I'll be needing to be back in here. So I've been doing a lot of work over the last month or so, doing some things around organizing the space, reorganizing my junk, trying to make the best use of what I have here in the van. And I will be giving a more of a van tour of the various things and how I set up my refrigerator and my air conditioning unit and my heat and all the other things, just so that you have a little bit more understanding or a little bit, maybe get some tips about how you can do the same thing in a space if you are considering this for yourself. But at any rate, I wanted to just share that here in this little intimate space. And again, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you later.